a kind of coercion. All right. So this is about the question. Next, coming to the, so before going to next question, do you have any doubts? Anything to be asked? From anyone? All right. Okay then. So coming to sixth question, a democratic government is to be preferred over bureaucratic government because it is better designed to reduce the defects of bureaucracy. So democratic government is preferred over bureaucratic government because the question itself gives the answer. It reduces the effects of bureaucracy. Now, who has preferred a democratic government over bureaucratic government for the first time? So first of all,
Vincent.
so start introduction regarding what is democratic government. All right. And philosophically in public administration, who has actually given this democratic government? It is Vincent Ostrom. So if you know this, the answer is over. But it is not always guaranteed that the people before going to, that is by the time of exam, they remember everything. All right. If you are good in Vincent Ostrom, ready-madely you can give the answer. But if you don't know, I'll give that both the ways of answer the question. First of all, I'll talk about the one who has the idea about this one, this concept. Democratic government was first given by Vincent Ostrom. All right. So first talk about Vincent Ostrom and his public choice approach. All right. So in 20 words, in core part of the answer, right, try to talk about why he wanted to replace, why he preferred, because of defects of bureaucracy. So highlight the defects of bureaucracy. Right? Why he preferred? Because of defects. So what are those defects? Highlight it. What are the defects of bureaucracy? Highlight the defects of bureaucracy. All right. Then why he wanted this democratic government? What is the reason for having this democratic government? So institutional pluralism, the advantage, the public, their choice, their interest. All right. So more adaptable. So this is what you should give the points. Then conclude the answer. Then go for conclusion. So what is the right conclusion here? All right. So supporting the question, democratic governments, that is a government that is more adaptable, that is a small in structure, which is decentralized, will be, so that is participative, will be more efficient, effective in responding to the diverse needs of people. Right? And it is the best, and this democratic government is a better answer. It is a better solution for a bureaucratic government which is organized on Weberian lines. This should be the what you call concluding point. Right? Just have this kind of conclusion. Right? It's over. So what is public choice theory? Then what is democratic government? So why democratic government is preferred? What are the problems of bureaucratic government? Then what is the significance? What is the basic advantage of having this, what you call a democratic government? Conclude with the basic advantage. It's over. This is one way of writing answer if you know Vincent Armstrong. If you don't know Vincent Armstrong, first highlight what is democratic government in your own sense. All right. Then, all right, what are the basic defects of bureaucratic government? At least you should know the criticisms over Weberian bureaucracy. At least you should know this. The prerequisite for this is, right, your awareness, your knowledge on criticisms of Weberian bureaucracy. So then highlight the Weberian criticisms. Then pick out the advantage of democratic government over bureaucratic government. And remember, I forgot to mention one point. Whether it is democratic government or whatever government may be, no state can function without bureaucracy. Never undermine bureaucracy. So what you want is, that is public choice approach. Vincent Ostrom only wanted to transform the quality of working of bureaucracy. What Vincent Ostrom said, bureaucratic structures are necessary but not sufficient structures. So there cannot be any state, there cannot be any government without bureaucracy. So never undermine bureaucracy. Simply say that. So bureaucracy is essential but not sufficient. And people should be given a choice of choosing their service provider. Simply, in these lines, complete your answer. All right. So this is what you should do. So coming to the seventh question. Minobrook 2 conference. Minobrook 2 conference sought to establish its identity by focusing on the current and future vision of field of public administration. This Minobrook 2 conference sought to establish the identity of public administration by focusing on current as well as future visions within the field of public administration. All right. So this is what about the question. So our answer is about how this M2, for me, M2 means Minobrook 2 conference. How M2 sought create the identity of public administration. All right. So what are the efforts made? So what are the concerns raised and what are the solutions prescribed? Concerns raised in second conference and solutions given in the second Millbrook conference. We need to highlight these answers, right? We need to highlight.
New public management.
So definitely, right? The prescription in the form of rollback of state or using of market principles. That is advocating a new reforms within public administration, and this reform model it took the shape of new public management. All right. So introduction. If you take introduction, all right, start your answer with the what you call the conference, right? The conference and the backdrop of the conference. And the backdrop of conference. All right. So this is one thing. Next, in the core part of the answer, right? Highlight the concerns raised. Highlight the concerns raised. So this should be what you call one para in the core part of the answer, almost all 50 words. Then solutions, the second para within the core part. Again, it should be within 50 words, right? So here, for 10 marks, write for 150 words. For 15 marks, write for 200 words. For 20 marks, write for 250 words. This is how you categorize your what you call word limits. All right. This is how.
Sir, is it
Yeah.
is it necessary to fill all the pages? Consider in.
We never see. Don't think about filling the pages. Always
Okay.
think about writing a quality answer. If a question is
Quality
asked,
matters.
if you are asked to write within 150 words, conclude. If you don't track the answer, if you are not getting, conclude within 100 to 120 words. It's more than enough. If it is 200 words, write in 150 words. If it is 250 words, come down to 200 words, right? So this should be the logic, right? So don't go beyond the limit, but always enjoy the flexibility of enjoying the limit, what you call the inner limit. So you can reduce your answer, right? If you think that the quality is compromised by 50 words. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. So
Sir,
never on the quality of the answer.
is
UPSC
it the same
always.
for? Is it the same case for GS also, sir?
Absolutely. It
Okay.
is about quality. All right. So when you write quality answer and if you highlight 3 to 4 important points, it is itself enough. And one thing I want to advise, all right, in case if you're not finding words, use graphical representations. Whatever you write, if you want to fill the page, simply use graph. Right? So do this. All right.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
then, Ravi, you want to say something?
I think, sir, that is what my question is.
Yeah. Conclusion. So by providing a solution, by providing recommendations, Minobrook 2 conference definitely it has provided what you call it has strengthened the academic status of public administration. Remember, These conferences are meant to strengthen the academic status of public administration on one hand and providing a prescription for the practicing administrators. All right. On the other hand, so we need to focus on these points. Right. So that should be our conclusion. The field of coming to eighth question, the field of public administration is in turmoil, right? Because of the changes in the role of government globally. All right. So because of this, the impact of this change in the role of government, the discipline of public administration is currently engaged in soul searching. All right. So because of turmoil, all right, right, because of role change in the governments globally, public administration as a discipline is engaged in soul searching. All right. I made no space. All right. First of all, introduction. All right. So you should talk about what is the period of turmoil. Period of turmoil. So essentially, it is a period of 1970s to 1990s. Because it was in this period, we see a complete role change of government. So here, when you don't know about what to write about turmoil, there is a second hint. All right. Role change of government globally. So when there was a role change of government globally by 1980s, by 1990s, we see a complete change of role of government. That is advocacy of minimalistic role of state, rollback of state, contracting out, privatization. All right. So this is the new role. All right. So first introduce what is this period of turmoil. So why this period of turmoil has come? That is, what is the reason for this turmoil? That is, right, failure of state-led government, failure of socialism, failure of bureaucracy-led government. So the blame is on bureaucracy, the blame is on socialism. And the evidences are increased expenditure, financial burden, wastage of money, lack of accountability, increased corruption. These are the evidences. Right? So first, introduce this period of turmoil and in single shot, try to explain why this turmoil has come. Then go for a detailed explanation of, that is, exactly explain the reasons for this turmoil. Right? Then talk about, first pair is about what you call reasons for turmoil. Then talk about, because of the above reasons, the governments were forced to change their role change of government. Right? Because of the above reasons, right? Governments are forced to change their role. So talk about the role change of government. All right. So what was the new role adopted? As I said just now. All right. Now coming to third, that is concluding point. All right. We have seen a new role of government. All right. That is, all right, because of these events, there is a reinventing of government. There is a transforming of government. So practically speaking, all right, there is a transition, there is a transformation within the government. So from administrative state to welfare state to enterprising state or entrepreneurial government, what you call a corporate government. All right. So these are we should conclude. So that is, there is change in the nature of government. At the same time, coming to the academic discipline of public administration. Remember, when you talk about academic discipline, don't miss practicing. That is what you call the practitioner from the practitioner point of view. When we talk about practitioner point of view, don't miss academic discipline. So now, not only there is a change in the role of government, but even the academic discipline of public administration, it has reinvented a theory that is suitable to the contemporary problems. Even if you take second minute conference, so one of the concerns that was raised is to bring about reforms, to bring about changes in the curriculum of public administration, right? In the what you call theory of public administration. That is what recommended. That is what discussed in second minute conference. So write this point. So conclude with this point. All right. So that is soul searching. That is a new soul was adopted. What is that new soul? What is the new soul of public administration?
catalytic.
The new soul is the form of adopting the principles of enterprising government and taking up the new reform model of new public management. That is what the answer. All right. So coming to next question, the newness is in the way the fabric is woven, but not necessarily in the threads that are used. How the fabric is woven, not necessarily the threads that are used. Newness is in the arguments as to proper use of the fabric, however the threadbare is. In light of this, explain new public administration. Now, I found these lines more interesting in Mohit Bhattacharya. That is the reason why I have used this as a question. All right. So definitely the question is about, now you have a hint. The question is about new public administration, NPA. The question is about new public administration. All right. All right. Now, it is about newness. All right. How this NPA has come, and again the reasons for emergence of NPA. Now, coming to the core part of the answer. All right. So here, fabric denotes public administration and public administrators.
Yes, sir. The structural form, as in so.
So it is about the public administration and public administration. So how this public administration is used? What is the makeup of public administration? That is how bureaucracy is used. To what extent, for what bureaucracy is used. It is not about, all right, who is performing service, how they are being used. It is not about the threadbare. It is not about the threads that are used. It is about how that shirt or how that fabric is used. It can be shirt or it can be any kind of garment. It is not about the kind of thread. It is not about what you call the kind of what you call stitchings or things. How you are using your garment and for what purpose you are using your garment. For what purpose you are using bureaucracy. For what purpose you are using public administration. Right? How it was used till now and how it should be used. So the answer is about what? The new roles, the new goals, the new structure. Newness lies in roles, goals, and structure of public administration. All right. So the answer, the core part of the answer should revolve around this point. And essentially say that, all right, public administration, that is, now compare in the concluding point. In concluding point, compare traditional public administration is in concluding point, say that traditional public administration is modified. Modified for what? All right, to suit for the contemporary requirements. It is modified for suiting the contemporary requirements. And whether this modification is essential or not. Whether this modification is essential or not. This modification is essential. This modification is essential. So it is all about transformation. It is all about transforming the role of bureaucracy. All right. So this is about the 9th question. Coming to the last question. So it is Wilson. Question on Wilson. That is Wilson's arguments. Wilson argued that public opinion and democracy have a place and say in administrative government. Administrators need to be trusted with the great degree of discretion. All right. So question is about Woodrow Wilson. Question is about Woodrow Wilson. Right. And Woodrow Wilson, see here, argue that public opinion and democracy have an important place and say in administrative government. A person who is known for dichotomy, a person who has prescribed separation of administration from politics, right? Arguing that, right, politics has an important role. Public opinion democracy. What does it mean? It means politics. It means politics. All right. So how this what we call public opinion and democracy has an important role and say in administrative government. That means Wilson himself accepts that he himself accepting that it is not possible to what you call separate administration from dichotomy. So according to Wilson, administration cannot be separated. It cannot be separated. All right. So first, start your answer with Wilson argument on dichotomy, his contribution towards public administration. Then give some of the reasons in the core part of the answer. In core part of the answer, that is in core part, in first para, give reasons, or give his arguments in favor of separation because he is the one who recommended for separation. First, talk about the arguments for separating. Then, in the second paragraph, give the arguments of why this politics and administration should not be separated. All right. So, give arguments in favor of role of administrators in public opinion. All right, and democracy. So, to write this, you can use the take the help of new public administration. According to NPA, bureaucrats have an important role in strengthening, augmenting public opinion, forming public opinion. Right? So use the help of new public administration and say that, right? Democracy, public opinion always have an important role in in public administration. And in fact, administration need to work in a democratic setup. You cannot what you call separate this. You cannot relieve administration. You cannot relieve administration from what you call democracy. Both are what you call interrelated. So what you call argue in this way and conclude saying that public administration has an important role not only in policy implementation but also in policy formation, but also in what you call forming the public opinion. All right, use the quote of F. A. Negro if necessary. Right, even you can use the quote of Negro. Right, you can use the quote of P.H. Appleby, who said that public administration is the base of government. According to Negro, public administration deals with all the three branches of the state. That is, including all the three branches like legislature. So you can use this F. A. Negro's quotation or you can use P.H. Appleby's quotation to conclude your answer. Right? So this should be the style of answer writing. So am I clear about these answers?
Sir.
I'm clear about these answers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I want the feedback from each of you about this discussion. First, I'll start with Ravi. How do you felt?
Sir, it is great, sir. Like a perspective to how to write the answers has been given there. So it would be great.
Good. Prakash?
Yes, sir. I found
How you
it good,
felt it?
sir. I found it very, yes, I found it useful and also very easy to learn, easy to implement, sir, in exam.
Sharan?
Because making things complex, it can be made complex also. But here you have made it simple, just like GS papers. That
Sharan,
is the
what is your...
beauty.
Okay, Prakash. Good. Thank you.
Sir, I
Sharan?
got a new perspective, sir, how to write an answer that it should attract in this letter. So, correct practitioner.
Okay. Anu?
Yes, sir.
What is your feedback on this
Now
issue?
I understood, like, I failed in structuring the questions, sir. So I understood it, sir.
Okay. Sunita? Okay, then for now, it's the class here. We'll meet in next session. That is tomorrow by 7 o'clock. So maybe tomorrow I'll start the class at 6:30 itself. For the people who are online, right? I'll start the session by 6:30 tomorrow. Right? Okay? Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.